Drawing modes in Illustrator provide a unique way to draw and interact with existing artwork in your document. Using these modes can make easy work out of a normally complex task. Let me show you how the drawing modes work. Now I'm beginning this video with the flower.ai file already open on my computer. And before we go too far, I want to point out where the drawing modes are located. So at the bottom of the Tools panel, I have my Tools panel in double column view to make it a little bit easier to see these. And you can see that down here we have 3 different buttons that we can access. Now, when you're normally working in Illustrator, you're always in the Draw Normal mode. And the Draw Normal mode, well, it draws normally. You have your normal stacking order and it draws items one on top of another. Now, the other mode we have, which is directly to the right of that, is the Draw Behind mode. And Draw Behind, as you might expect, if I just grab my rectangle tool, I'm going to go ahead and set the stroke to none, and I'll go ahead and set the fill. I'm going to pick a nice sky blue here. And you'll notice that when I draw an object now, it's going to draw it behind all of the other artwork in this document. Now, just to show you this, if I were to change my fill color, let me deselect this, change my fill color to something else, and I draw another object, I'm going to extend it out here so you can see this, it's going to just keep drawing behind the bottommost object in your document. So this is really where understanding stacking order comes into play as well, because as you keep drawing, it's actually drawing in reverse. Where normally when you draw content, it starts at the bottom and works its way up, stacking items on top of one another. But Draw Behind does the opposite. It keeps drawing objects behind one another. So I'm going to delete that rectangle, and you can see how helpful this drawing mode is, because if you ever want an object just all the way behind everything else, just turn that mode on and draw, and you're good to go. Now I'm going to go back to Draw Normal mode. That way I can continue working as I was. And using my selection tool, I'm going to go ahead and select this circle in the middle of my flower. And what I'm going to do this time, instead of Draw Behind, I'm going to turn on this mode here, which is Draw Inside. And you can see here that the shortcut to toggle between these modes is Shift-D on your keyboard. So if I press Shift-D, you can see that I can just continue to toggle between these different modes. So I'm going to toggle so that I'm in the Draw Inside mode. And just to demonstrate how this works, I'm going to go ahead and grab my blob brush tool, and I'm going to set my stroke color. I think I'm going to go ahead and use maybe this light orange color. And I'll make my brush a little bit bigger, and you'll notice that I'm going to draw over top of this. You notice when I let go, you can see that it's only drawing inside of that selected object. So as I continue drawing, I'm just going to fill this. And if you're thinking, well, you could have just selected that object and set the fill color to orange, you're absolutely correct. I just want to illustrate the concept here. So I'm going to go back to Draw Normal. And just so you understand what's happening here, you can see when you hover over this, especially if you have your smart guides turned on, you can see that that shape that I painted is still there. Now, if I click on this, I can double click on it and it's going to go into isolation mode, and you see now I can click on this object, and basically what happens in the Draw Inside mode is that it creates a clipping mask, and so the circle becomes the mask, and if I double click again, you can see that I'm now selecting the content of the clipping group. So if I click back on this link, we can see that this circle is the mask, and if I double click on it again, that's the content that the circle is masking. Now I'm just going to go ahead and double click out here to get out of the isolation mode. And now I'm going to click on the flower itself. And I'm going to set the fill color of that object. I'm actually going to remove the stroke, and I'm going to go ahead and set the fill color. I'm going to go ahead and choose maybe this lime green color. Now that I've done that, I'm going to turn on the Draw Inside mode. But this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of painting in there, I'm going to come over here to this group of objects that I've already created. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to choose Edit Copy. And now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select the flower again that's currently in Draw Inside mode, and I'm going to choose Edit Paste. And when I do that, you'll notice that it's pasting that content inside of the shape that I currently have in Draw Inside mode. And if I click off of that, you're going to see that the shape that I pasted in there is being masked by the flower shape. And so it's a really quick and easy way for me to take existing shapes and paste them into other shapes without having to do a lot of complex operations. So I'm going to go back into Draw Normal mode. I'm going to select the leaf, the left leaf here, and I'm going to go ahead and fill that, actually fill both of these leaves with this lime green color. Then I'm going to select the leaf on the left, and I'm going to switch over to Draw Inside mode, grab my blob brush tool now, and I'm going to set the stroke color to this darker green here. And I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. I'm just going to kind of click and drag to paint a line, in the middle of that leaf. And then I can turn off Draw Inside mode to disable that. I'm going to select the right leaf, and I'm going to enable Draw Inside mode on that object. And using the same color, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click and drag, and I'm just going to draw a line through this leaf as well. And you can see that I've done Draw Inside mode for both of those objects. So we can go back into the Draw Normal mode, and you can just get a sense for what these different drawing modes do and what they allow you to achieve. So we could literally do as much as we want when we're in this Draw Inside mode. We can be creative, we can paste content in there, and essentially do whatever you want. As you can see, understanding the drawing modes can make it quite easy to add color and design to existing artwork, and do it in a faster and more efficient manner than most traditional methods.